think this is my third and final class. This will be my third and final class with you people. So it's exciting and looking forward. Great.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Kende. Are you going to share your screen? Should I make you a co-host?
Yeah, you have to make my 1 second. You have to make the other one Kenny. See this Kenny? Make that one a co-host. With that, that's what I used to share my screen because I'm joining on two devices here. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
But just some of it and let me know when you're ready, Chidima, because I also want you to listen in so you won't be distracted with technicalities. You know. Um, Tessie, Dansu, are you guys here? I don't think I've heard from you. Akonde, Ihosu, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your names well. Mm.
Yes,
Ugoma,
I'm here.
Okoye.
I'm here. We are ready.
Great, great. Chidima, let me know when you're good to go so we can get started. Mm.
Okay. Uh,
Great. I don't think I'm a co-host here, though. Right?
oh,
I think I should be able
I'm
to share
trying.
my screen. Let's find out. I send a request, so you might just approve that request. Yeah. Did you see that?
Not yet. I'm trying to see.
So go beside the name Kenny, click on the name Kenny, maybe, and just maybe on the other participants part, or click on those three dots. You should be able to make me a co-host there. Yeah. So go to participants, then you can click on the three dots beside my name, Kenny, the first Kenny. Then you can then.
Yeah, I've clicked it open. I'm seeing options like search, ask for start video, add pin, rename, allow to multi-pin, put in waiting room, remove and report.
So you cannot make me a co-host.
Yes, I can't
Ah,
see
I see why you
the
cannot make me
option of
co-host. I see.
making.
No, 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 no. I see why you cannot do that. You are a co-host yourself, so you cannot do that. Only Precious can do that. I don't know if you can hear us. Let me call him. You know. Mm. Very Precious. We need you to come and make me a co-host so I can share my screen. Chidima cannot do that because he's a co-host. Thank you. Hello? Okay, which of them did you make my calls? Because there's one for Kenny. That might be, I'm thinking, and then they call. Let me see if it's this. Uh, nah, not this one. This is a disaster. To call him back.
Okay, Mr. Kenny, you've been made a co-host. That's for the account, Kenny.
Great, thank you for that. I think I just saw that now. So we can get started in a minute. I'm just gonna try to pull up what I want to share. I'll move into it, but I think it's gonna be informative. Where is this thing? There's a problem. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be with you in a minute. Ah, found it. Took out what I was looking for. Mm. So I'm gonna share some highly confidential stuff here. Letters that I've received from people and letters I've written for people that have been successful. And it is my hope that you guys, it's just meant for you guys, 'cause it's gonna be a recorded session. And these letters are not meant to be public. Do I have your commitment to that? Good. So, recommendation letter is perhaps the second most important part of your application packet, also a deal breaker. And it's also a gap filling application packet. And there are so many layers to it. And what do I mean by that? You've written your own application essays, you've written your statement of purpose, you've written your personal statement, your research statement, your interest for whatever you want to do, etc., etc. The problem about all of these is that you are the one talking about yourself. You are the one making claims that this is who you are, this is what you are achieved, this is what you're interested in. Recommendation letter gives you a leverage from that person to not only corroborate facts, but to give you a third party assertions of your claim. Because you could write the best thing about yourself, and that's why it carries a lot of weight and power. Now, most applicants falls into the trap of what they think a recommendation letter should be like, from using flowery languages to trying to say this person is the best person. Now, while those things are necessary, they are not the most significant thing admission committee are looking for in a recommendation letter. And I'll tell you what are those things they look for. But before we go into the art of writing those letters itself and what you can do to influence your recommender, who is the ideal person to recommend you? I repeat, who is the ideal person to recommend you? Number one, your ideal recommender must have a personalized professional experience with you. Your ideal recommender must have a personalized professional experience with you, such that they can speak to specific examples about your career trajectory, at least the one that relates to them. In this case, your first bet is your academic advisor for your project. If you are in a good relationship with them or not, they are well positioned to speak to your research skills or your work situation. Two, your boss, your direct boss. And this is what people fail to realize. Getting a letter from your direct boss that might be a junior consultant in a company is more powerful than getting a letter from the managing director in some instances. Because the managing director, you might not have worked with them, but we are so fixated on levels and authority that we think that is the game changer in application packet. That's a lie. I see many people coming to meet me. Oh, my advisor in undergrad was a Mr. This is not a doctor. Can they write a letter for me? They are the best person to write a letter for you. The doctor part doesn't change the narrative. Yeah, it can help to bring some professional credibility. Or no, they are a doctor, they are not a professor. Okay, who is the professor? I've never worked with you. The answer is no. So the person that wants to really write to you must have, I repeat, a personalized professional. I didn't say only professional, I said personalized professional. There are two P's that I use there. In that they know your professional work through their own through you guys shared personal experiences. They've seen your best bets, they've seen your mistakes, they can speak to your growths, how you grew over the years on your interaction with them. That's number one. Number two, you want to ensure that out of the two or three recommender, one of them have a sustained long-term relationship with you. And they must mention it. Even if they don't mention it, most application packets, because I've done this a lot for a lot of people, they usually ask us to click how many years or months have you known this applicant. Anything above 2 years is considered really good. Between 2 years and above, everything from 5 years plus or 4 years plus is perfect. Now, that doesn't mean somebody that knows or you work with within a year cannot write a letter for you. They can, but they have an additional claim to make in their letter because they don't know you for a longer time to see every part of you. So they must justify in whatever they are writing why they are still the best fit to write in your letter. Third, your recommender should not be too far off, at least one of them. If it's for masters, you need two. At least one of the two. If it's for PhD, you need three. Two out of three. Must not be too far off from the professional space you're trying to go to, if you have it. And if they are far off, they must be able to make a claim why they are still able to speak to your professional readiness. For example, you're applying for a master's in public health program, but during your time, you work in a customer service company trying to get by, and that's the person recommending you. You can see there's a problem with that. They can be your third recommender, but you must have two professionals that can speak within those realms of your area, at least a little bit closer to it. Because there's something they look for in a recommender. The first question and admin committee review with this. Do this person have the authority and the leverage to speak to this person's professional experience? And there are three things that determines that, or maybe more than that. The first is, do they have a relationship with you? Two, do they have nuanced knowledge of the field? And are they somebody practicing the field that they can know what is required? And that is why an academic is always your best bet. There's no way you want to apply for, except for professional master's program like MBAs, maybe MPA, some that you can get all your letters from maybe companies and professional. Usually recognize at least one of them must be an academic that is writing for you, because they can speak to your academic readiness to actually approach this. Now, the elephant in the room, how do you get these referees? Because most Nigerian students do not. It's not their fault. We have a culture in the country that reminds me of this whole thing that is trending regarding Mr. Elumelu, but I'm not going to comment on that. But we have a culture in the country that most of our lecturers are like a god to us. I do, and for context, I'm all for respect. I don't call my professor by first name, but it's so hard to have a relationship with your professor. It's really sad, and it is largely not the student's fault. But you must be able to maneuver that war, that leverage to develop either post when you graduated, or if you still have access to them, develop that relationship. So how do you do this? The first thing, look at your network, both professional and academic. Who could be an ideal recommender that satisfy these prongs that I just spoke about? List them down. Most times you need 2 for masters, you need 3, but I like to have 5. If you are doing for PhD, 5, because some of them might not be available sometimes, and it's also very demanding. And you see what I mean, that you need someone that can be able to do this for you. For master's application, you can have 3 or 4 because you only need 2. Write their names down. Ask the question, do any of these have professional personal relationship with me? Rank them. At least 2 of them should have. 2, do any of them can speak to the context of the field of where I'm trying to apply to, whether it's academic or professional? Note them. 3, the most sincere question. Can I message this person and they will reply me? Can I call them? Can I go and see them? Where am I with them with their relationship? Now, I see this a lot. And because I am a very empathetic person, so even if you've not spoken to me for a year and you message me for a letter, as far as you notify me a month before, minimum a month before, I'll give you a letter if I can speak to you. At least we've worked together before. But there are so many persons that, because it's very hard. If somebody write a letter like I do, which most Nigerian professors do not, it's very hard to write a letter. I will show you an example of letter I've written to people. It takes time, it takes hours, because I have to think, I have to remember my specific interaction with them. So because I don't want to be the reason why somebody will not get in. If anything, self, the way I think about this, but because I know this, those people that I'll give you don't know this. Because I've sat on admissions committee, I've seen why letters, maybe there's something not good in your packet, something that is worrying the person. Your letter is a very important bridge that can fill those gaps. So I see why my letter can make somebody application better. I've been opportunity to write a lot, even for Precious, you know, and me and him we have a lot of back and forth on it because he knows I take my time. But that is not the reality of the average Nigerian recommender. You must be able to bring them to that reality. And it is hard. They are mostly older than you. They are your boss. You don't have a relationship with them. But the most defining thing here is what I call value. What do you bring on the table? It's very, very important. Or what have you brought on the table? Value. I have a lot of recommenders. For example, an academic relationship is that you've known you're going to apply for grad school. This is August now. You might need them to submit this around October, November. So that's 3 months. Reach out to them. Visit some of them you can. Write a targeted WhatsApp message. Most Nigeria professors doesn't use email. Those that use emails, professional. Let them know ahead. And do not just go ahead and ask for letters. You must position them in your life, because if you can ask them a letter, they usually have that position. They are like a mentor to you in a way. They're very direct or indirect. They're like, dear professor, dear doctor, this is how you doing inside. Been a minute, how you doing, ma? And I just wanted to check in. And also, I'm at a crucial stage. I'm at an inflection point in my career, at a crucial stage that I'm thinking of what's next for me. I have some idea of a plan, but I would really love to discuss some of them with you. I can come visit you or up on a call because your career path in a way is similar to what I want to process. You are starting small, small to bring them like a stakeholder. It's very, very important. A stakeholder. Don't go and meet them. Hello, I'm having for an application next week. Can you recommend me, please? My deadline is. Just think about it. One of some most because again, put all the normal sir, man, don't say Tony. Put all the man sir that you need, eh? So that you can get your respect. And for what is what I feel bad for the girl. It's so sad that people are kind of hounding her. I think she had learned her lesson and also think it's not a mistake, but I don't want to share my opinion on it. But again, I just want to put it on the record that I respect our country culture, but in the same vein, also I also feel bad for the innocent girl to a large extent. So putting that on the record. But the point here is that they will mostly reply you. And you actually want to go there. You also don't want to go with, I'm doing this because of a letter. You actually need someone like that to speak to. Because you get more than a letter from them. And this is the trick. Getting a letter from them will become the easiest of the game. You visit them, you call them, tell them your plan, why you want to switch career, what did they think, what is their advice? Tell them you got selected for this fellowship, what you've been doing. Hi, let's say I remember I say I'm actually thinking of pursuing a master's in this, and I'm actually conflicted whether I should do this field or that field. I have an opportunity to get this fellowship where they are sponsoring a part of my training and maybe some part of my fees, but I just need to speak to someone that is in need or something. They will give you good advices, blah blah blah, etc. 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 Listen to the advices. For some of them, you might be opportunity if it's an academic. They're like, I'm also in the process of trying to write an academic review, and I'm trying to work on these topics. I would like for you to, if you wouldn't mind, to help review and also be a co-author. Lecturers would like to be a co-author on something. But those are professional bosses. If you are trying to work on a report framing, trying to work on an article, a portfolio, and you want to invite them to be like it, it's like you're doing the job for them. That's also helping them to gain visibility. They will most likely say yes. You just don't reach out to someone 2 weeks before your deadline. What they want to write about, right? So managing your fee is very complex. Now, I put it to you today. You think you only need them for application. When you come here, you will always need them for the rest of your life. Like for the rest of your life. You will need somebody in Nigeria, at least one or two, apart from your bosses here that will still write for you. At every crucial stage of your career, you're applying for this fellowship, doing your PhD or master's program. You want to get this fellowship, this funding, this application for your immigration packet. They need somebody back home that can speak to you. So you must be value driven and have a crucial relationship with them. This is the most difficult part. Writing, I'll show you how to write it. But is the person really ready to make you write? In fact, the relationship will eventually evolve to a state where they will allow you to send them a draft of your letter. That's what you want eventually. Even though the law says that you shouldn't see that letter, it's also not illegal because you are sending them a draft. It's their duty to either use it or not. But you give them a context. But when I request for letters, because I have a relationship with them, most of my recommenders from third year, I've been trying to write with them, publishing with them. I published with 2 professors in Nigeria, like 5 papers. And today they can call me and ask me anything. I will always be there for them. Do anything they can. Sometimes it doesn't come at a good time, but they've gone all out for me. But it's a systematically value-driven built relationship. How did Precious build the relationship? Didn't Precious just woke up and asked me a letter? Reached out, we discussed. Even when I was in Nigeria, we met, told me all his plan. Went dream to impart what at the initial planning phase, I helped Sheba is going to develop. And that's why I'm here today. So you think Precious will come here and need, even though I will tell you this, even though I don't advise it, and I'm not training on that it was. Relationship becomes so driven and valued that you might just see something you want to apply for on deadline day, like the next day on deadline. Then you can call your recommender, no matter how senior they are. Hello, man, I just saw this thing. I'm so sorry. They will say that no, I'm too busy, but they will still do it because they are attached to your development. So the question you want, the assignment here is you have to have that list. Ask yourself, where are you? And ask the first part, did this person have a personalized professional one? If they don't have any, then you have to build some. You have to find the work you can do with them, either a shared research study, a portfolio project, whatever it is, so that they can have something to speak to. And you see why it's important once I go to the second half of this topic. So if you have some of them, when last did you speak to them, you must give that targeted message of your life plan or your career, and they become your direct or indirect mentors. You win any award, any fellowship, you go to their DM. I just, even though they didn't play any role in it, I still do that. I published a paper that was very prestigious, and I forwarded it to some of my mentors. I want to send it to you. This just got published in this journal. Thank you so much for your support over the years. They didn't do anything about it. I don't need them for anything at the time. The relationship is continuing since something is going on, etc., etc. And so it's a very, very complex game to manage, but you must bring value to the table. Now, if that's the case, because you're applying for multiple schools, and that's the painful part. For some programs like nursing, public health is easier. They let the recommender just submit one and they can just apply it for other schools. For most programs, no. They must keep either duplicating the same letter for different schools. It's tough. It's hard. I hate doing it. And because of I've worked with a lot of people, like I was a program coordinator, I work with thousands of people every year. I don't like November and December. I don't like it because I submit nothing less than 100 letters for people. And I just block a week for it. And it stresses me out because it's a lot of work. So for you to get into that 100 list, you must know I must know you because it's a lot of work for me. And the problem about it is that they don't apply to one school, they apply to like 6 or 7 schools. And you start have to edit each letter to the school name, edit a bit of the specificity of the program and the likes. And you want to make their job easy when you get to that bridge. Maybe you have this relationship, you've reached out to them, or maybe a month, they've told you, oh, I'm trying to submit all of this, and I'll really be grateful if you can recommend me. I will ensure I prepare all the packet to make the job easier and the likes. They will most likely say yes, since you've built this relationship of reaching out to them constantly and the likes. But this is your trick. This is the trick statement. Also, I'd like to mention that the recommendation have a specific formatting. I spoke to some senior students that they require a specific format. So, and I would, if you wouldn't mind, I'll take the liberty to send a draft around the format for you to edit. They will always say yes. Look at it. The commission have a specific format, the way they will prefer it. And that is, you are not lying, it's true. With that, you then have a control. So the first step of all of this is that you must understand how to manage these referees, how to communicate with them, how to bring value to the table, how to have them as direct and indirect mentors, such that they can recommend you. Now, you now have the opportunity for them to be your recommender, and you have the opportunity to then draft. What will you draft? And this goes to the part where I have to share my screen. I'll give you two different samples. The one I got early on in my years, and the one I now write for people. And you'd imagine the one I write for people is way better now because this was 6, 7 years ago. So let's see. I'm gonna read two. I'm gonna read two together, and from these two, we can then let's see. This is from who? This is from Prof. Okay. So the letter is a very simple letter. Like when we're going for Kenya Adebi, and I'm going to read through. Can people see my screen? And as I'm reading through it together, we are going to go through different step of the thing. I write in respect of the above named applicant to support his candidates for a PhD program in microbiology university. The opening doesn't matter. You can write it anyhow. I am pleased. I am honored. The first part of it is a shared introduction of why are they fitting. You must establish that. And in this case, Prof did this clearly, and this is meant to be a confidential letter. So I am repeating again. Um, Please, obviously, so for some school, luckily I was opportune to be able to see this letter at the long run. For this, I don't think I should have. But again, I hope I can trust you guys for this. Yeah. I serve as an advisor to Kennedy on many fronts, transversing academics, social impact, amidst others, and also lectured him during his undergraduate program. Adebi struck me as intellectually sound and of enviable integrity. As his lecturer and instructor in practical classes, he's without contestation an assiduous budding scientist who pays keen attention to both principle and practical application of knowledge. A first-class honor with a grade point average of 4.84 on the scale, he is today one of the best students produced. This is fine. You may not have to be the best student. But the most important thing here is this first part, establishing why am I fitting, right? And why. Then going to specific example of why do I think this person is fit. What Prof did was to go on and write, Kennedy has proven to be an ingenious academic with a deep interest in microbiology. Why? Because I'm applying to a PhD in microbiology. 1 second, let me plug my laptop, otherwise it's gonna die. with a deep interest in microbiology. As a professor of microbiology, again, re-emphasizing his authority. Now, this is where personalized relationship comes in. I have supervised personalized professional relationship, emphasis on that. As supervised is focus is research work focused on medical and environmental microbiology. You don't want to just say that, then move on to, then did his best. And this is the part, if we don't have anyone that can say something like this here, then there's a problem. And look at it, a specific highlight. It could be a specific example, specifically one example. That is the word a committee is looking for. All these things you've said is the best. I know him, he can do this. Everybody say that, all letters. This is what they are looking for. Second includes his work on the use of microbial particles for bioremediation. Kennedy presented his research at an international conference, thereby contributing his quota to this urgently needed domain of knowledge. Recently, Kennedy co-led a review team that designed a manuscript of COVID-19 diversion strategy, consequence of antimicrobial resistance. In this article, he compared different disinfection processes used in managing pandemic and explored the possible consequences of AMR thereof. Kennedy has two ongoing research work under my co-supervision that specifically designed and focused on microbiology concepts. Again, there's so many things that is wrong with this letter. I can see it now because it's 7 years ago. That will change. But it still serve the purpose. Authority, why is it fitting? What did I do with this? And you could see, he was my tutor. He mentioned that. This is one work I've done with him, another work I've done with him, two other ongoing work I've done with him. You have established clearly that I can speak to that. Then he conclude, and this is one thing I like to do. Whenever you say this experience, you must give us this short conclusion in each paragraph. I am therefore convinced that his versatile research experience has adequately prepared him to pursue a doctoral degree. Then, interestingly enough, he knows me beyond my professional academic, right? He can speak to my social impact work. Now, not everybody can do that. You might have different persons that can speak to. So that beyond his academic, Kennedy penchant for social impact work has been an employer at the Lagos State University. He founded the first SDGs club in the university and has continuously led projects in the area of environmental advocacy, quality education, equality, and climate action. All these things might sound good, but they are too generic. But this is where things become. So you start with the generic statement opening of those virtues, then you go into the specificity of it. Profoundly, he spearheaded the largest SDGs campus campaign for a week, which impacted thousands of university students. Kennedy has boasted of his proficiency being a global ambassador of the Lagos State University. Then he came back, and look, this is a very important paragraph that I know I can speak to his microbiology, but why can I speak to his advocacy? Because he's also the Dean of Student Affairs during my time. So as the Dean of Student Affairs, I witnessed the massive engagement in the area of environmental across all levels through Kennedy campaign. He championed environmental advocacy conferences, SDGs Academy, and also the institution of recycling environmental projects to ensure proper waste disposal and its management thereof. I was not surprised of his emergence as the SDGs Nigerian Man of the Year in 2019, as he has dedicated valuable time and efforts in propagating the gospel of the SDG, thereby betting a phenomenal number of changed mindsets on environmental concerns among students. As a testament of his scholarship and social work, Kennedy was generally appointed. These are blah, 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 blah. And eventually, you want to conclude with a very, very good conclusion, which is intellectually, morally, and physically. I am convinced that Kennedy is well suited for the choosing field of mental endeavors. Given his track record, focus, and young age, there is no doubt that a PhD will be of great asset in his career. I can see so many things wrong with this letter now. I can't write a letter like this, but it still does. It does the magic. I got into this school because he obeys the basic principles. One, establishing the authority of why am I fitting to write this letter? Who are they? Two, immediately writing about who am I to this person? How long have I known them? Why can I speak? Three, what do he want to speak about that I'm an academically promising student and why he thinks so? What has he done with me? Then he also has the leverage to speak about the social impact. This is a good letter. And let's leave that. I work with this company. This is not academic, and I submitted it in addition to that. I got the Shifting Scholarship, even though I rejected the offer. This perhaps is the most complete scholarship in the world, next to Rose Scholarship. And this letter is one of the best letters because I didn't influence this at all. But it was written in the best way, but it also fulfilled the prompts. Why? Because this person understands how the things work. Again, these are confidential stuff that should not be shared. I write to share my highest commission possible for Mr. Kennedy Oriluwa candidacy for the Shifting Scholarship Award. Kennedy visionary leadership compels me to share my wholehearted support for him. And mind you, this person works for me for a year, with me for a year, so it's less than prof, but they could still write something interesting. Support for him and his work for scientific advancement. As the program code, again, all these parts is the person recognizing the authority. Why can they write this? Who are they? All your letter must have. You don't want to. We have this thing in Nigeria where you just open. I've read so many letters and it frustrates me. I'm here to recommend blah 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 blah. That's this, Mr. This. Then they start talking about you. Why? Because they want me to go to at the end page and see who they are when they sign up as a professor of this. No, you don't do that. In your first paragraph, you establish who you are and why are you fitting to write for this candidate. I repeat, your first paragraph is establishing who the person are and why are they fitting to write for this candidate. In this case, you have, as the program director for the Union Campus Network, I have witnessed the exceptional contribution that Kende has made to communities within Lagos, Nigeria. After working with Kende most recently this past fall, in his role as program coordinator at MCN, I can confidently say that he has the characteristics and qualities necessary to become a phenomenal researcher. This has been exemplified through his dedication, teamwork, and leadership skills, and his witty and appealing personality. This is a very strong opening paragraph that, like, this is why I can recommend this person. Yet, he has not yet done the magic. The magic goes to the specificity of, okay, fine, but why do you come to this conclusion? I like this approach better because this person is leading with their conclusion. Unlike Prof 1, Prof started but didn't conclude of why they think they concluded at the could see clearly that they led with who they are and led with that this is why I think is necessary. But the onus is on them to then say, why do they think so? Where did they come to this conclusion? And you will see that here in this moment. And that is why personalized professional, the most important part of your letter is things like specifically, an example, one highlight. Those words are so important where they can say that specific one or two things. In this case, they established their relationship. I first met Kende through the Minor Fellowship, a semester-long leadership development program presented by the United Nations Academic Impact and MCN to undergraduate student leaders. These young leaders commit to ethical, collaborative leadership to tackle poverty, discrimination, and injustice. Given Kende's track record of impact, he was selected as a Millennium Fellow and a campus director in 2018 of his campus, Lagos State University. Throughout the fellowship, Kende facilitated leadership development trainings for 60 Millennium Fellows on his campus and led the initiative through the Sustainable Development Goals Awareness Campaign to Lagos State University to provide medicinal education and development initiative for youths in Lagos, Nigeria. During the Millennium Fellowship Program, Kennedy successfully completed 5 campaigns projects that impacted above 2,000 committee members. Look at it. There's nothing that could have been more specific than this. There are numbers, there are metrics, there's a specific of what the project is. This is a recommendation letter, not the one that you write, he's smart, he's hardworking. Nah, what does that mean? Then when you then go, and I'm not going to read everything because this is very, very interesting, but I'm going to read this next paragraph. Through his engagement as a Millennium Fellowship, I learned what makes him so unique and a natural leader in the service of public good. With passion for sharing impact and indefatigable commitment, he deepened his engagement with us by signing on to our admissions team, managing the review of his applicants to the African continent. He liaised closely with the staff at our headquarters, creating another stellar class of Millennium Fellows in 2019. This led to a record number of applicants from 2009 campuses across 135 nations. Mr. DBE helped us build a remarkable class of 2019, which are 805 young leaders in 15 nations that possibly impacted the lives of 54,300. You don't need to have this extremely crazy profile. I understand. This is not to brag. But even if it's just one thing you did, we did a sample size, interviewed 10 persons that led to this. These numbers matters because they know that nobody can just make this up. Are you guys following me thus far?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, please. So far, so good.
Thank you. Then they went further to kind of say so many examples that Kennedy was able to distinguish himself through his dedication to social impact and youth mobilization. At MCN, we were so impressed by his leadership. This statement here is so powerful, and I'll tell you why. And what's the most powerful statement here is the word we. Like the recommender was speaking about this is what I know about it. But they concluded like, this is not only about me. The team feels this way. So for you that you are getting stuff from a company, try to infuse this a little bit that even though I know this person to be this is not only true to me. We as a team believe this about this person. It's one of the greatest level of confidence you can have somebody give you in your letter. Well, like at MCN, we're so impressed by his leadership that we hired him for the role of program coordinator to expand the program in 2020. He helped lead one of the most diverse and expansive class of the fellowship, offered personal mentorship at Gandhian Seminar Fellows, and helped create more inclusive and comprehensive content and training fellows. He created the official non-fellowship leaders convention, in which he built a community of practice between a diverse set of student leaders across the world, including fellows from the United Kingdom. There's something she did there that is very cool. When I was in this program, I was a program and I managed for 20 countries. She specifically cited United Kingdom. Why? Because I'm applying to Chevron in the UK. There are nuances to this. So you don't have to do this for other country. If maybe you work with somebody in your company and you did so many projects and they spoke about those projects, your numbers, let them make an example that relates to whether what you're applying for and why this actually stood out. So let's say you work in a data analysis company. You've done analysis for a crude oil company for them. You've done for policy. You've done for government. You've done for food. But you're applying for policy. Why they start so many examples? The specific example must be around that policy part because that's what you are applying for. It makes the person relate. Then what everybody looks for, which is something I learned to. Oh, sorry, I should not have shown this name. What everybody look for, which is something I've learned over the years to finish my own letter with. After all this professional, who is this person as a person? At least if you are submitting 2 letters, 3 letters, 2 out of 3 must say a bit about you as a person. And you also don't want everything to look like the same. You see, these are 2 different letters, 2 different formats. Even the opportunity to write it, to draft for them, try to ensure they are diverse and different. In this world of AI can help you, but you want to ensure that it's not an AI written letter because people are actually skeptical. Like this was before AI, so people can trust that for someone to write this, then we should select it. I remember doing my interview for Chevron. They brought some of these my letters up that you have a very great letter. You know, outside of MCM, I know candidates will be very involved in his other activities, including research and on-campus organization. Now, you see, this person, even though I was applying for a Shivni program, and why did I choose them as if this person did not recommend me for my other program? But I know Shivni needs not only my microbiology, but they need my leadership stuff to be shown. I think I also used her for some of my PhD, but I've had 2 professors, or no, not professors, 2 academics, one of them was not a professor, 2 academics to recommend me. Then I could use as a compliment of the other part of me. But yet, she still tried her best to speak about her research because she knows I'm going for a master's in microbiology, even though she doesn't have the authority. So she concluded with that. That I know candidates will be very involved, including research and on-campus organization. Get the experience that carried him a long way through his academic and social work career. He's a responsible and empathic leader who never fails to accommodate others' interests and value. Now she's not speaking to who is this person as a person. Does they have integrity? He has portrayed exceptional adaptability as one of our most reliable fellows and co-worker. His strong work ethic and ambition have allowed him to translate his humanitarian experiences into creating his own initiative both locally in his community in Nigeria and globally. His warm personality make him very easy to engage and work with, and his motivation and dedication motivate the people around him to dig deeper. Now, the strongest line for me is this, and is a line I learned from her. And I rarely write this to anybody I'm recommending, except I know I can write this to them. I rarely write this. Is that she then concluded that I have been fortunate to work with Kennedy and I'm certain that it would make for an incredible addition. The word there is I've been fortunate. Do you know what it means when your boss comes to a conclusion that is a privilege for me to work with you? I rarely write this. I don't care who you are. I can write this for Precious because I've been fortunate to work with him over the years. He has proven that. That's why this relationship matters. So you don't need to use that word fortunate. Conclusion that, like in all of my years, I have considered it a privilege or I am honored to have contributed to this person's career. It's telling the reader that, like, if you can allow this person, you experience the same level of pride. There's nothing that could be more true. But she can only conclude this because she has said a lot. This remains, even though it's 7 years ago, remains one of my strongest letters I've ever received. There's one that is very strong, but I can't share that yet because I'll say strong because it's a very confidential one, and I'm still in place of the application. But this is one half. But let's go to another part. Over the years, what have I done? How have I written for people? I recommend people that have worked with me. And I'll show you examples here. This person got into this program. Unfortunately, they could not travel yet because of the old visa wahala. Now, this is the letter I wrote. This is as soon as recent as last year. I became so knowledgeable with it. I've written so many letters. I recommended this candidate. It was like their admissions review committee. Now you know that I know this so well because the first rule I follow is who am I and why can I recommend this person? And that's your first rule. And perhaps this is the most important document I will share. This is not about me, but this is what I wrote because over the years I've learned the tricks. My name is Kendi Adebi, and I'm a researcher in microbiology and bioinformatics at the University of Bloomington. And the co-chair of the board of EdDrive Nigeria, a non-profit dedicated to addressing the heavy burden of infectious disease in Nigeria. Why did I choose to just speak about this? I lead so many organizations, 7 of them. But this person is applying for a PhD in nursing. So I got my health part in play. Forget SDGs that. Forget this. I'm a microbiologist and I also share an infectious disease organization. So I'm a professional. I can speak to this degree. My work centers on understanding the molecular basis of bacterial cellular processes and the application for public health and sustainable development. It also extends to advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, where I pioneered the first nationwide movement to engage higher education during the SDGs in Nigeria. In this capacity, I currently serve as the Director of National Partnership and a member of the Board of Trustees for SDGs Act. Across my research, see, all of this look like I'm bragging. I am not. I have told the reader that anything I write about the applicant, I have the authority to do so, not only as a professional, because I know the field so well. This is the trick. You see, my other letter, I don't have this clear because now I know better. This was as soon as last year. And that's why I hate writing this letter. It stresses me a lot. It takes a lot of work. But I'm always glad to write it for people that have decided to write. Then I only spoke about myself since. But why am I recommending? What am I doing here? Across my research, public health interventions, and community development work, I have had the privilege of working closely with Nosa Dege Clinton and Colorado, year after referred to as Nosa, in all 3 spheres. These experiences place me in a strong position to attest to his skills, character, and readiness for PhD study in nursing at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I concluded that all this thing I told you about myself is not about myself. It's because I've worked with this person in all of these things I just mentioned about myself, and I'm ready to write about it. Again, establishing authority, establishing who am I and why am I fitting to write. Immediately, I recognize the most powerful rule, and I only bring this on board when I know this person for a long time. I don't put this. I first met Musa in 2018. This will ring a bell. This was in 2025 where I was 7 years relationship. Hence, this person can speak anything possible about this applicant. So every word in a letter is intentional. There's something it drops to the person that reads it. When I was an undergraduate nursing student, he visited Lagos State University and an interaction immediately stood out to me. He shared how he had initially enrolled in plant biology, but made the difficult decision to withdraw and restart his studies in nursing in order to follow his true passion. This meant beginning a new program and falling a year behind his peers. Yet he shows that path with clarity and conviction. That brief conversation revealed a young man who is clear about his passion, but was also willing to make significant sacrifices to pursue it. Since that first meeting, I've had multiple professional interactions with him, which have only reinforced my positive impression of his determination, maturity, and commitment to his chosen field. Yeah, I've not spoken about my experience with him, but I've known him for a while. I only spoke about this guy is passionate, and I can prove to you because he changed his course of study. It was the program that he changed it. Then I concluded, emphasis on why am I saying this? Even for me, when I write, I conclude every paragraph. Every paragraph must have a conclusion. What did I want you to take out? Yeah, I want you to take out that like everything about me is because I've worked with this person here. Yeah, I want them to take out that like this person has sacrificed and is deeply passionate about this. Then my third paragraph then becomes that thing I've been calling specificity. Eh? Okay, I don't know why this is doing this, but we have to read this down. My first professional engagement with NOSA began when he expressed a desire to volunteer in community development. As the founder of SDGs Art, I introduced him to an opportunity to contribute to SDG 3 and 10, good health and well-being, which aligned directly with his passion for addressing health inequities among marginalized population. Why did I write this? Because I was able to edit his SOP. His whole PhD is around health inequities and among marginalized population, you know, and the likes. Hold on a second, I need to check something in this letter before I go ahead. Okay, why did my laptop hang? Okay, I got it. I think I can share. I want to be sure because sometimes I usually write something confidential about applicants. And as I told you, I should not be sharing this about them, but I just want to give you guys the best. So I have to read through. Now let's go back to this. Ah, so I spoke about my commitment. Now let's go to this paragraph here. Let's start from here. After Nusrat graduated from college, he shared his strong research and his intention to start by writing a review paper on a topic aligned with research interest, a way to contribute to knowledge while building his scholarship skill. As a microbiologist, again, I reinforce my authority here. As a microbiologist working at the intersection of public health and infectious disease, I advised him on his initial paper, which he focused on microbial resistance literacy in Nigeria and implication for public health. In this work, NOSA thoughtfully synthesized fragmented evidence on AMR in Nigeria and proposed relevant context-aware recommendations for both research and policy. This is what I call specific example. You know, the things I've said about him. He's passionate. Okay, fine. He's bumping them up. But this is where I start speaking example and numbers. It's important. It's very, very important. Again, you always see me conclude at each paragraph. What do I conclude here? Is the ability to critically engage with literature and translate findings into practical guidance, further confirm his potential as an emerging scholar. Another conclusion. This is what I want you to get from this paragraph. Let's go to the next paragraph. Since dedication to research, I invited NOSA to join the research team for Screen and Chill 2025, a AirDrive Nigeria initiative focused on providing hepatitis B testing to 5,000 individuals in rural communities across all 30 states of Nigeria, while simultaneously conducting knowledge assessment survey. This dual approach positioned the project to deliver one of the first nationwide data set on HBV prevalence and the factor associated with the spread in the country. NOSA joined the volunteer team involved in planning and coordinating the outreach and makes clear contribution to the successful education of the initiative, which received national media coverage and was referenced to international platform, including at the United Nations event. Again, another specific example. Beyond his work in the field, Nusa has been actively involved in data analysis and the ongoing finalization of the manuscripts arising from this project, underscoring his role not just as a field volunteer, but as an emerging researcher whose skills and commitments have been central to program success. Again, another conclusion that like this guy can analyze data and they can see a project from the beginning to the end. That's the whole point of this paragraph. But remember the rule I gave you guys, and I'm going to summarize the rule in a moment. And the rule is that I will always end with why are they suitable for this and who are they as a person. I will now speak directly to Nosa suitably for doctoral study and why it will be a strong addition to your program. Nosa is exceptionally passionate and deeply driven. When he commits to a goal, he follows through with remarkable focus and persistence. This quality is vital for success in research, which is often marked by uncertainty, setback, and experimental failures. His experience is also uniquely aligned with his research interests, and he does not only seek to study yet inequities among marginalized population, he has lived through aspects of these inequities, volunteered extensively in community to address them, and devoted significant time to plenary research on these challenges. And look at it. Then I went on and said, equally important, Nusa is a genuinely good person with a strong sense of integrity, community, and discipline. He works well in teams, listens to others, and contributes thoughtfully to collaborative efforts. Taken together, Nusa will not only thrive in a rigorous PhD program in nursing, but will also be a valuable and constructive member of your academic community. Thus, I offer my highest possible, and this is the only part I voted. I'm showing you all of this not to brag about whether I can write. But even if he made a own mistake in his own application, as a recommender, they don't give me what counts. I have the freedom to write as I like. I can bring anything to the table. And you want to have something like this. There are 5 rules to it. The opening statement must put an authority of who is this person and why are they writing. 2, they must quickly say their relationship with you. Once they certify those things, then the third part is they must then go up to your professional proficiencies or academic, with not only giving you specific examples of what you did and how and what is their role, what's their involvement in what, but they should also try to conclude, if not each paragraph, at least every 2 paragraphs, what do they want the reader to take away? And lastly, they must then speak to why are you suitable for that program and who you are as a person. If you have a letter that addresses this, it will not only turn the hand of the needle when they are deciding that like you are a finalist for an application and they want to choose 1 or 2 persons. These are the things that determines. Things like, what did the letter say? So it's not easy to write. You must get to a level where a non-Nigerian professor will readily write this for you. So, and that is why the first half of this class of managing references, referees is important, such that you can then be able to request that there's a template that I recognize is best for success. Can I share a draft of that with you, Ma or sir, and you can work on it? And they'll most likely work with it. In some instances, for most of them, when they are done with their final draft, they'll be willing to share it with you so that you can do all the what I do for my recommender is when I'm applying to like 10 pin, I help them if they are willing to share it with me. I help them do the and they share their letter, but there must be a level of trust for them to allow you to do that. A level of trust. I help them to kind of duplicate it, change the name because it's always very stressful for them to do that. So that the only thing they need is just to go and submit. And that's why the first time what I said is you don't want to go to a recommender and referee as like I need a letter from you. They are your mentors, and that's why they can only write a letter for you. They are your direct boss. So you must share your career plan with them. You must use that strategy one way or the other and make them a stakeholder in your life such that they are devoted. Why did I write this? Because look at it. I've met this person for 7 years. I've seen them develop at every stages. And I wrote not only this, I wrote for like 10 schools. They got into about 4 of them, fully funded program. This is the first success I've had in a PhD in nursing. I never believed that they can full funded a PhD in nursing. And I'm so, so proud of him. But I can only do it. I can only write this because of that shared stakeholder relationship. And I've seen them. Eh? Because you don't want to make things up. Aha. You don't want to make things up. Right? Obviously, you can write around things, but you don't want to make things up. So I'll stop sharing my screen now, and I hope that you guys not only got the principle of managing referees, but the essential component of a good letter, particularly for admission purposes and anything. And you can see mostly they're mostly 2 pages. A good letter is mostly 2 pages. Like you can write a good letter in 1 page, but you have to be very, very concise and go to the point, or at least 1.5 pages. You can write a very good letter with that. And with that, I'll open it up for questions and happy to answer it. But I hope you guys got it, and I hope I didn't say too much and you learned a lot from this. But yeah, again, I want to appeal to your confidentiality. I know this session is recorded. Please do not share this with anyone. These are people's life. This is also my life I shared. So it's important that this is not shared with anyone. I share that, of course, confidence. So that's all I've got.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kehinde. Like you really did justice to that. And I can personally relate because I have been applying to schools, I've been reaching out, like I have recommenders too. But the details of what you said, how they will present themselves, like why they have authority to write the recommendation. In fact, you made mention of a whole lot, and I now understood where I got it all wrong. So I want to thank you for doing justice to this topic. So I will be throwing it up open to the class. Anyone that have question, just raise up your hand and Mr. Kehinde will listen and he will answer. Just raise up your hand, please.
Go ahead, Raphael, then Ugoma
Okay.
can go. Yeah.
Yes, so thank you very much. And then I want to ask about um, the recommendation letters that was written for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were very, very personal, and then they were all very, very deep about you. I wanted to know, because some of these professors who normally write these letters for us, they are very, very busy. Some of them, they know you, they know your name and all that. But the content they wrote about you were very, very, very personal and then very, very strong. I wanted to know whether you gave them an insight. Is it right to maybe tell them some of the content they should put inside so that it can be very, very catchy and very, very strong like this?
No, it's a good question that you asked. And that's why I'm saying that you have to build relationship. For the second one, which is the best I work with, I give insights of like, oh, I sent my CV to her and I let her know what did they look out for. Then she wrote that, but she's a white person, right? And this is not to say this, but they know what they expect. The job professors are busy. That's why I said I gave you the key line. After I develop this relationship with them, maybe you told them, do you when application fees is coming, you don't want to write for letter alone? I want to say yes. If you wouldn't mind, I'm happy to kind of share a draft. because apparently speaking to people that have succeeded in this and also some mentors, they recommended this the format for writing. I'm happy to share a draft. Then you are writing it in a way yourself. Eventually they will edit it, change stuff. And this is where you put all of this information in. You think like then you kind of put some of them, like for example, all of these numbers. And again, you put information in, and because when I can write it so personalized about, I thought about it. What work did I do with this person? So I was an education USA OFP scholar, right, during my time, the US Embassy OFP scholar. So I attended trainings like this where I was taught. I'm also was not born with this. I will ensure there are specific examples, do this. And also when I saw that letter for Shivni, that also changed my perspective about writing letters. And that helped me to whatever draft I give to people. So you want to try your best to be in a position where you can help draft it and they work on it. But in the instance when you are not, you must try to give pointers of what you think they might help. But yet, for most times, my recommenders trust me to help them draft. And I don't know what they change and what do they not change because they mostly submit without me, but they would likely just change a few things. Because they also will read it and they see how detailed it is. And the question, and that's the problem. Would the person call you and say, no, I can't do this for you. I can't speak about you like this way. No. And that's why the managing relationship matters. But yes, oh my God, they can't remember even some of these numbers now. They work with a lot of people. But at least you want to position yourself whether you can help draft it. Yeah. Mhm. But there's a risk about helping to draft. There's a major risk. And some of them, and you also want them to edit themselves. Because if you are not careful enough, you might draft all your letters for all your recommenders and everything sound the same way, unfortunately. And the reader will know that it's the student that wrote this. You also don't want to draft it the way it looks in your SOP or something. So also
And
ensure that it's
yeah,
open-ended enough that they can edit. Go ahead, Raphael. Yeah,
you've
I can hear you.
done.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What do you say?
Yeah. So I was trying to ask that maybe you've done some applications in this academic year to professors who wrote for you, and then unfortunately you were not picked for this year. The subsequent year, can you maybe change the date or something on the old letters and recycle them for a new application
Do you think
in the
the one that you submitted before,
ensuing the
do you think, oh, sorry, I thought you were done. My own question to you is that, like, yeah, why you may want to change the date? Why do you want to do that? There's a reason why they didn't select you, right? And why can't you just write a fresh one and send them a new draft? The knowledge you gain in this class, did you have it when you submitted those ones? You know? So application process is hard and it's meant to be hard because it's a life-changing opportunity when you get it. Your life changes for the better financially, status of living, your career is almost secure. So it is hard. I mean, I don't like to miss what I remember my first class with you guys. I told you guys a marathon, and you must be ready to run it because the end result is always good if it happens. And I pray it happens to all of you. So and I thank you for asking that question because yeah, people do that a lot. So I'm not saying you do that, where they want to change data and do this because they were not. I'm trying again. Like it's an opportunity to dismantle everything and like start over. Put your SOP, your CV, dismantle it and start. And because there was a reason why you were not selected now. It means something about it was not good enough, you know? So that's the whole point. Ugo Mokori. I hope I answered your question, Raphael, and I hope it helped you.
yeah,
Good.
you have
Oh, great. Over to you, Corey.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So my question is, my recommenders, right? They none of them. I don't know how to say, but none of them revise drafts from other students. It's almost like a known thing that if you want a recommendation letter, you write it yourself. And sometimes they go as far as giving you their login, their emails to submit. They just, since you wanted that, but just write it. So how do I overcome that? Uh, like my letter sounding the same. What do I do about that?
I understand you. You must be able to. It's tricky. It's about the approach, right? You must understand the rules, the central rule of a letter. and ensures that like, okay, this person must say who they are and what they know are, and what are the essential components and the likes, right? But if you also use the format for everyone like that, it will be getting. And I'm going to give you an approach here. Remember when I read my first letter, Professor Bayori, who wrote the first one for me, started with, oh, they were my teacher, they taught me this, blah, 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 and they are here to write about me. And they go on and on and on. The second letter actually started with the conclusion of the whole letter, that this is why they think I'm fitting, starting from the end first, before they go different approach, the same style, right? Sometimes even the name, for example, there was a letter where somebody was referring me to Kende True. Another person was referring me like Kenny, because I'm also called Kenny. Some was using Mr. Adebiyi, right? So these are different changes that, okay, this person is calling me the way they prefer to call me. Those are some few changes you can. Also, for some of them that have conclusion after every paragraph, like mine, for one of them doesn't have conclusion after every paragraph. The conclusion was almost after everything, right? They sum everything together, right? So these are some of the real approach. Also, when you are done, compare both of them. Do you use the same kind of word? For example, I'm someone that learns to, I like to use a lot of conjunction like however, thereof, so therefore, specifically, additionally, and there's no way I will write something. But once I'm done, before I send to anyone, I look at both of them and reduce those occurring word in one of them or the other. Most importantly, I often open my SOP and see that like, is there no, because sometimes you don't know, is there no look-alike format? So you only obviously write first openly, then that's your first stage of writing. Then the second stage is you change this thing during review, start comparing them one left at a time. Comparing, you will see that after you do a lot of iteration, they'll be starkly different. But to want to get it from the first grade is a lie. You can't do that. You must, and that's why I say it's meant to be a difficult process, right? Maybe not an intense process, rather. It's not, you can't write the letter alone for a whole day and say you're done. It's something that you want to work on for like 2, 3 days a week, sir, to ensure that it's strong, it's balanced, and to give different perspectives. So with that intentional effort, I'm sure you'll be able to make it different. Yeah. Mm.
Okay,
And yeah, for you
thank
to
you.
get to a level of relationship where the professor might want to change their login, it means they trust you so much and don't abuse that relationship. Yeah, that's it. Any other question from anyone?
No.
Okay, one final assessment is in one word. I want you guys to type in the chat box. Ololade, you can go ahead. Not in one word, maybe in a sentence. What was the most, what stood out to you in today's class? What was the one major thing that you gained? I want to see if everybody truly participated. What was your own? What don't you know before that you now know? What was one thing you like? Anything. I would like to see everybody type it on this call. Over to you, Ololade. Thanks.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for this session. I was able to see my lapses. And from your first start, I told us to recognize our gap and where we need to fill. I knew I had to fill this recommender part because my last relationship with my personal professional mentor was not that good. So I was not thinking, I was still telling someone last week that I needed to mend that relationship. So I just wanted to recommend like ways you can um mend the relationship because I feel like it's been over a year I've not spoken to him. And I felt like a physical replacement would be good. I feel like I go back to the school and all. So I just wanted to help with possible way of mending the relationship with the potential recommender. I think it's the best recommender I can have according to your definition of who your recommender should be. Thank you, sir.
So my understanding of your question is you don't have because your audio is muffled, but I think I got it. You don't have a good relationship currently with your advisor or something, and you're looking for strategy to mend it. Is this person a
Yes,
professor?
sir.
Or do they teach? Yeah,
Yes,
that's it. So what makes the relationship? The first question is why is the relationship not good? Did you offend them or you were not just close to them?
no, the thing is, my final year project, I was tired. I was struggling to keep up with my CGPA and all. So it felt like I didn't give it my all. And at the end of the day, where I was just like, just release me, let me just go. This final year energy. And the thing is, I never had the mind of going to graduate school in the first place. So it was something that I just had to build up during my NYSC. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not even applying to any school yet because I feel like all these gaps needs to be filled. So I'm just looking to visit my school this week, this coming week, because I want to go and get my certificate and all. So I'm looking at, should I get something for him, or is there a better approach to mending the relationship? Because it's just like we just submitted. It's not only me, all of us under him. We just submitted our project and we just
Yeah,
like
so
doing.
I understand you. I understand you. Again, I know Nigerian professors can be very interesting, but also give them what they need, right? And what do I say? Give them what they need. Like reaching out to I don't know if you can message them or not, or going to their office that, hello, sir, I would like to see you. I want to discuss about something quite important. Don't bring letter to the table yet. Oh. Hmm. And in that regard,
Yes, sir.
and you kind of even own up to it that, like, you recognize that you might not be the best person doing your project, and you thought about all of this, but you also felt like you learned a lot and how much you could have done better. But you are thinking of what's the next step for your life now. You think that you actually still want to do this research thing, proceed for an advanced study, and sort of apologize, maybe not apologize really, and say that you would like to actually still keep in touch with them. You can even give them a gift, appreciate them, their support, and when they also want to hear any advice. Obviously, a reasonable person, if the person is not reasonable, they'll just shout, but a reasonable person should kind of recognize. How Nigerians are now, they might still chastise your boy could have done better, but at the long run, just admit most things. Still want to kind of give you advice that, like, oh, you knew they also did a master's and PhD, like, what are their thoughts for someone that wants to proceed this? And what can you work on? You can even go ahead and also say that, like, you actually would even like to work on maybe a little review or research paper to actually build on your skills since you have some time now, maybe doing your NYC year or doing your things like that. Then after that is your own duty not only to keep in touch, to actually fulfill those things. And yeah, you can actually give him a gift, maybe not in the immediate. I'd rather go ahead with the conversation first. Maybe not in the immediate. If I were you, find information about if their birthday is already not passed, about their birthday, or if there's a major festive period that is coming ahead that I celebrate, a targeted message also helps. Just dignity and respect. But the most important thing is the value you eventually bring beyond all of those things. But yeah, I'll open with a sincere conversation. Again, also know the person you are dealing with. You must know who they are. What's the best person? Can you walk in the office and say you want to see them when they have time? I want to discuss something important if they don't mind. Can you test them when they schedule a message? So that you are dealing with different person personality. Yeah. But yeah, you can put all of this into context. But I hope this helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much, sir.
Great.
And thank you for today's session.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, thank you guys. I read everything you said here on the chat box, and it's inspiring to see that all of you were listening. I would say that why the authority, because I saw most of you spoke about the authority, which is good because most people don't know that, which they have to introduce themselves. But emphasis is mostly about the first paragraph. You don't want to overwhelm your letter with that because if it's too overwhelming, it means the person is writing about themselves. It must be very concise, some maybe 2 or 3 sentences, but very solid to show who they are. But the most important piece, I've said it before I started, that is statement like specifically, one example. Those are the most important part of your letters. The authority is also very important. And somebody also said that too, like the specific, if you have numbers, put it. Those are the very important parts. Statement like that, one example and highlight specifically. Also some of you do not forget the ending page of where the person speak of why you fit into their program, and maybe not only the ending page, or they infuse it somewhere in the conclusions they make. But more importantly, also speaking to you as a person, the virtue of integrity, accountability, respect, collaboration, teamwork. Those are things that you should not lose foresight. But with that, it's always fun speaking to you guys, and I truly wish you all the very best. I know some of you might try to have reached out to me some way or the other. Please just try doing it again. I'll eventually get on it. I receive hundreds of messages, but I promise I will once I'm able to review it. But if you need anything that is very urgent, go through Precious. He knows how to get me immediately. But I wish all of you the very best, and I'm glad this has been helpful. But yeah, I'll pass over to Shidima, but that's all I've got.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kinney. You've really done justice to that. And we also hope to see you in one of our next classes because
I've,
we,
I've,
we,
I've
we
been here
tend to
for
enjoy
three
it.
times. You guys don't want me to rest.
It's
But
because
I hope so too.
we enjoy your classes.
Yeah, let's see. I'm sure you also have some.
But
I'll
thank
be honored
thank
to
you
come
so
again,
much.
but I hope your other facilitators have been very helpful. You
Yes, yes. Every facilitator have been doing justice to all the trainings, and we can't but say thank you for the opportunity.
I see. Don't worry. I might show one more time again. Let's see. Let's see. I'll speak to Precious. Hopefully, I have the time to create for it. But it's a worthy sacrifice. You know, whenever I come to this training on Saturdays, I usually come at the time when I'm meant to be at the gym because that's the only time I can create. But it's more than worth it because I can't imagine and wait to read all of you good news. So, but I will speak to Precious about it. And best of luck with everything. Failures will happen in the process, but you eventually get that one. Yes. The most important thing is do not give up. Do not give up. Like, do not give up. Like, it's frustrating. Even some days you will cry. Sometimes say you don't have the money to apply, but do not give up because you only need that one yes. You only need that one yes. And once it happens, I can promise you your life changes for the better. And I hope you can lose a first sight for that. Take care, guys, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
All right, sir. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. For those in AI class, see you guys later. Do anyone know the time for the AI class today?
They normally reshare that particular class, but I don't know.
Well, since they've not said anything, they didn't even say anything about today's classes. So I believe it should still be the normal time since they didn't say anything.
The normal time is 4, right? Because it has just been shifting from 4
It's
to
not
6 to 6.
for the normal time is 6 to 8. Normal time is
Ah,
6 to 8. Yes, this is supposed to be 3 to 5, then 6 to 8 for AI classes.
okay. We
So the
finished
normal
this
time
one on
is 6 to
time.
8.
Okay, okay.
Yes, it's because we finished on time today. It's normally 3 to 5, then an hour break, then 6 to 8.
All right, all right. No problem. See you guys by 6 for those in AI class.
All right now. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.